welcome to the House of Maths. Today I'm looking at how to solve a quadratic equation graphically. So on a typical GCSE exam paper, you may well be given a setup like this, where you've got a graph here. Forgive the fact I've not got graph paper. And you've got your quadratic up here, and you've got this table here. Now the table is incomplete. We've got a couple of spaces missing. So what you're going to have to do is fill in these two gaps and then use these coordinates to plot your quadratic on the graph paper. So how do we do this? Well, we've got some x values across here. And what we're going to do is we're going to substitute the x values into x on the quadratic. And that will enable us to get the y values. So we only need to get 2 here. So we've got x is 2 here, so we're just going to substitute 2 in to where we see the x. So I'm just going to do that like so. So all I've done here is I've put in the 2 in brackets. So we're substituting that into the quadratic and seeing what it gives us. So, well, 2 squared is 4, 3 times 4 is 12. 2 times 2 is 4. So we've got 12 plus 4 is 16. Take 5 is 11. So we're going to get 11 in there. And then we're going to do the same thing with the minus 2. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little minus in there. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing again. So minus 2 squared, don't forget minus 2 squared is just minus 2 times minus 2, which is plus 4. Times 3 is 12. Now here we've got 2 times minus 2, which is minus 4, and minus 5. So we've got 12, take 4, which is 8, take 5, which is 3. Okay, so that'll probably get you 2 marks on the question for getting these 2 points correct. Now you're just going to use this table to plot your curve. Okay, so I'll do this as best as I can here. So we've got minus 3, 16. So minus 3 and 16 is going to be about there. And we've got minus 2 and 3. It's going to be about there. Minus 1 and minus 4. It's going to be about there. 0 and minus 5. There. 1 and 0 there, 2 and 11 there, 3 and 28 up here. So those are our points, okay, and then we're going to join those up to show the curve. Now just imagine for a second I got this one wrong. Okay, let's say I got, instead of positive 3. For some reason, I'd ended up with negative 3 there. So if I was plotting that, that would be minus 2, minus 3. So that would give me a point over here somewhere. Now, if you look at where my points are on the curve, okay, that gives us a curve. Okay, a nice curve. This point down here, if you plotted that incorrectly, as I've said here, you would see that you wouldn't get a nice curve. So because a quadratic is going to give you a smooth curve, remember, called a parabola. If you're not sure about this, check my introduction to quadratics, where I talk about what shape curves you get and what they're called. So you should get a nice smooth curve, like I'm going to try and draw here. Like so. There's your curve, and it's, as I say, it's a parabola, a nice smooth curve. So this point here, if I plotted that one incorrectly, it would stand out and you'd know you got it wrong. Okay, so the other thing is, make sure you join the points up with a curve. Don't be tempted to get a ruler out and draw straight lines between them, because that would be incorrect. This is a curve, and it must be a curve on your graph. So there we are. That would, doing this next bit here, plotting those points would maybe pick you up another couple of marks as well. And then you might get a question following on from that, part B, say, or part C, where it says, let's use a pen that works. So we've got our quadratic, 3x squared plus 2x minus 5. This is the quadratic here that we've sketched here. And then it'll say equals 10, solve. Okay, now what does that mean? So it's the same curve, but instead of it equaling 0, which is what we're used to seeing a 0 here, and then we would solve for these points here where it's 0. But this time we've got a 10 at the end instead. So what you're going to do in this case, if you imagine y equals this, so what we're basically saying is that y equals 10 in this example. They could have put any number here, could have been minus 5 or whatever, but it's 10, so we're saying y equals 10. So all we have to do to solve this is y is 10 here. So all you would do with your ruler is you would draw a line across where y equals 10. Okay, this is the y equals 10 line. So the solutions are going to be there and there. So it's where the quadratic, this bit here, crosses the y equals 10 line. So there are two solutions here. If it had been the y equals minus 5 line, it's going to be down here. Okay, there probably would just about be two solutions here. I think this curve is probably going to drop a little bit below there before it comes up again. So there probably would just about be two solutions there. If it was y equals minus 10, of course, down here there wouldn't be any solutions because they don't intercept. Okay, so that's how we would plot quadratic here. And a typical sort of question following on from that, how we might go about solving that. Okay, hope you enjoyed that. If you did, remember to hit the like button. More content coming soon.